In today's video, I'm just going to have a little wander around and try and find some compositions that are different to the kind of thing that I would normally shoot. It's still 2 hours before sunset, and I'm not sure that I'm actually going to be out until sunset. I might hang around until around that time, we'll see. But I'm aiming to shoot in the next hour, and I'm just going to have a wander around this area that I'm in. There's some water nearby, there's some trees around, there's sort of rocky bits. So I'm just going to have a wander around and see what I can find. Oh, and this is my first trip out with my new tripod, Winston 2.0. There it is, Winston 2.0 from Three Legged Thing. If you haven't seen my last video, I did a review of my Brian lightweight tripod from Three Legged Thing. I'll put a link to that up there now if you haven't seen it. And I introduced Winston and why I was getting it during that video. Brian is still here. Brian's holding up the video camera at the moment. Okay, so I've set up a shot here and it's using this bridge down here. It's not the prettiest bridge in the world, but it's okay. Over the water. So we've got water flowing in from the right hand side of the frame, just gently coming in. The bridge goes across the scene kind of at an angle, and then we've got this kind of tree up at the end, and then behind that there's the hills and a bit of sky. So I've got the 16 to 35 lens on at 20mm. I've got a circular polarizer taking glare out of the water. I've got a 2-stop soft edged ND grad in to just drop some of the highlights out of the sky, and a 6-stop ND filter which is basically slowing the exposure down to around 4 seconds. And I'm not sure if it's great, but it seems to look okay. So I'm shooting a long exposure on this because what I want to do is just slow down the patterns in the water to make them a bit more streaky, both leading in on the foreground and going out on the left hand side of the frame. Sometimes you spend ages working on a shot trying to get it just right, and then you get it back home and you realise you actually hate it. Yeah, this is definitely different to my usual style of things. There's some rocks here, and sticking out the top is there's this little shrub with these little yellow flowers on, and just down underneath them, sort of just down on one side of them, there's some more, but they're green. Presumably they haven't made their colour yet. So I'm shooting it from here, 200mm on the 70 to 200 lens, and what I've been doing is I've just sort of dialed in my aperture so that I'm keeping all of the little flowers, the plant itself, in focus, but dropping the background away. I've got a portrait orientation, and to get the right depth of field I need f8, but it's breezy, those flowers are moving all the time, and even pausing to wait for you know, a gap, they're still blurring unless I get a fast shutter speed. So I've gone to ISO 800, which is letting me get 1/500th of a second, and even then I'm kind of pausing and waiting for the breeze to drop for a second to take a shot. Definitely different to my usual stuff. Okay, this one may not be so different to my normal stuff, but I am trying out something that I don't think I've ever actually done before. Basically what I've got is this wooden bridge here. It's pretty modern, it's not the greatest looking bridge in the world, and it's unfortunately been tagged, got some graffiti on it, but that's easy, I can take that out, Photoshop, 5 minutes, get rid of that, no worries. We've got this little sort of rocky channel running through, which has got quite nice reflections in, and then there's these sort of trees and bushes over here. So what I'm aiming to do is get a shot which is nicely balanced with the bridge in, the hills behind. I want the tops of the trees in the frame, I don't want to chop them off. Now I'm at 16mm, and if I get the tops of the trees in, I'm not getting enough of the foreground in. It doesn't balance right. So what I'm going to do is a vertorama. So it's like a panorama, only vertically. So I'm going to shoot one shot with the tops of the trees in, and then another one I'm going to angle down to fit more of the foreground in, and then I'll merge them together and crop it. It might even go something like a square crop. I'm kind of struggling to see in my mind how it's actually going to look at the moment, but it's something a bit different. Okay, so I think I'm about done. I was toying with the idea of hanging around and doing a sunset shoot, but this isn't a great location for it. There's no real sunset compositions here. So I think I'm just going to pack up and head for home, and hope that this has been a success, and hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please consider giving it a like, sharing it on social media, leaving me a comment. Of course, don't forget about subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.